Alrighty guys, here it is after about 9 months or 10 months. This is the Ultimate Halo 5 collection pack. A lot of you guys have been asking for some kind of sound pack because, let's face it, there's a lot of videos. I've done, 72 now? It's kind of overwhelming, and I was doing it in a way that you guys could kind of pick and choose what you wanted and then sort it by yourself. However, up until now, I have been sorting it by myself as well, and I thought, you know what, it's time that I finally make, some kind of pack. And so, yeah, here it is. And there's a lot here, basically all of the videos that you've seen, along with extra things that I missed or just bad takes. Really, the reason I did this is because a lot of people were recording sound effects from Halo 5, but they weren't, they were just doing it on Parallax or doing it, on Alpine or just, some map where there was ambience, sound effects like birds and, waves and all that. And it just wasn't really pure raw sound. And so I thought, I might as well do it myself, and so that's what I have been doing. And so what you guys will find in here is pure wave audio with no ambience or background noise. There are a few exceptions to this, that being some of the main menu stuff, things like opening rec packs and all that. There is some main menu ambience, but other than that, pretty much everything like guns, vehicles, explosions, props, shields, Spartans, all kinds of things. You will find pure audio for that. Before we get into all the sounds that are in this pack, however, if you are here specifically looking for the announcer audio, things like double kill, triple kill, killing spree, all that stuff, that is not in this pack for two reasons. First reason, because Silly Goose has already done it. You can look him up, the Silly Goose's Halo 5 sound effects pack. He's already done all the announcer stuff, so I didn't see a reason to do it. That and the fact that this is really more focused on sound effects, not so much dialogue. Also, because there are a lot of sound effects in here, it can be quite a pain to just preview them by opening them individually. It's very tedious and time-consuming. Therefore, I recommend a software called Adobe Bridge. It's basically nothing more than a browser that when you click on files like audio files or video files, it automatically plays them. So here's a little demo of that. So with that out of the way, we're going to run through all the sound effects and the categories that are in here. There are 6 categories, and then also, before I actually get into it, there is actually there is a hidden folder somewhere in the sound effects pack that is basically bonus sounds from a completely different game that unrelated to Halo that I got, and I think that some people may find a use for them, some people may not, but something fun to find. Halo 5 is not the only game that I've gotten sound effects from, so there are several others. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. First category is Forge, and so this is a lot of the things that you would find in the Forge menu that you would place in Forge. And the categories are as follows. We have creature squeaks, FX emitters, gameplay devices, which is like teleporters, man cannons, all those kind, modifiers, bounce pads, slides. Then we have monitor, pistons, props, objectives, and sound emitters. This category of Forge comes out to a total number of 220 sounds in that category. The next category is Other, which is simply sounds that, they weren't really big categories or things that I recorded, but, things that you would find basically in Warzone or the campaign. There are just a few things in there, only 27 sounds, but some of them are useful, some of them aren't, but just basically this is the dumping ground for all the extra stuff that I recorded that I just felt like throwing in here. Our third category is titled Spartan. This is everything to do with Spartans, starting off with assassination related, which has bone crunches, stabs, impacts. And then we have falling bodies, which is basically when you die and having, those certain sounds when the bodies are falling and all that. We have movement and abilities, which is both Spartan abilities, also in first and third person. So first person being when you are doing them yourself, and third person being when another player nearby is doing those same things. Then the movement has things like walking. We have walking on, I think, 4 different types of surfaces, like metal, nature, all kinds of different things, and even individual footsteps. We also have punching stuff. Now, with the punching, I could have just taken every single gun and punched every single type of thing, but that would just be not very practical. The way that I did the punching is I basically got a lot of samples from all the guns, and then I also did another category called I think surface melee or like surface impact. So basically, it's just the sounds of when when you are punching something. There's at least like 80 different sounds: metal, turrets, vehicles, punching all kinds of things. You have these 2 separate categories, so therefore, if you want to, you can basically build your punching sounds by basically having, placing your initial swing and then having the choice of impact. And then also, the last one, we have shields and health. So basically, a lot of the popular stuff, like the shields beeping, health recharging, shield recharging, or, shield, critical, almost, about to pop and all that. But that brings the category out to a total of 371 sounds. Our 4th category is entitled User Interface and has firefight music. And normally I wouldn't record this music out of the game, but the only reason I did it is because someone asked for it, and then at the same time, it's never been released in an official soundtrack release, so I went ahead and did it anyway. Then we have HUD sounds, we have map intro, outro music, and even like the themes that you hear when the game is tied and all that. There's several different ones in there. And then menu sounds, things like opening rec packs, rec pack error, just really really obscure things like selecting the difficulties in the campaign. These sounds are basically as far as I can remember, the only sounds that do have a little bit of ambience and noise. Just because I couldn't really eliminate that, it's just it's that natural main menu like low humming sound that they put in there for whatever reason. But yeah, that brings the category to a total of 82 sounds for user interface. Our 5th category is titled Vehicles, and this basically has all the vehicles that you can place in Forge. So within each of the vehicles, you have things like the driving sounds or the engine sounds, getting in and out of the vehicles, switching seats, firing the weapons, as well as the vehicles exploding, close, medium, far. There's like 80 or 90 different explosion sounds. So, I mean, even if you didn't like Halo and you just want explosion sounds, there's practically 100 of them in here, which is great. Explosion sounds are awesome. Anyway, getting off track. We also have these sounds for when they get damaged and debris falling off, which is really, really awesome too. Some of those sounds also sound like explosion sounds. So in reality, there's like 130 explosion sounds, which is nuts. And then we even have vehicle collision. So, the vehicles, hitting the ground or all that. There's, I think, like 20-something sounds in there, which are awesome. And then all of the rec variant things. So you have things like the Sword Needler, Warthog turret, that is in there. The Hannibal Mantis and Hannibal tank. And then there's really not that many other ones, but I know the Phaeton Helios too. All of the rec-related sounds are also in there as well. And that brings the vehicle category up to a total of 663 sound effects. Our 6th and final category is the biggest, and it is basically weapons. We have, starting off, energy swords. I basically made a category just for the energy swords in general. And then we have grenades, close, medium, far, multiple samples for each. Power-ups, we have projectile velocity, which is the whoosh or the flyby sounds of bullets. This is personally one of my favorite categories. Those sounds are pretty sick. Then we have projectile impact, so bullets hitting stuff or rockets hitting a surface. We have rec-specific sounds, going back to what I said earlier about vehicles. Certain weapons in Warzone have certain sounds, that you don't hear on the normal variants, so those are in there as well, which are pretty freaking awesome. We have aiming down sights. I think that's 2 or 3 samples for every gun, both aiming in and aiming out. Weapon empty beeps or clicks or whatever, so when the gun is out of ammo. We have weapon fire, both first person with no echo and for first person without echo. And then also the weapons being fired close, medium, and then far. So that's like 500 sounds in itself. Then we have weapon idle animations, and these do have the updated ones. For whatever reason, they added a second animation for every gun. So that's another 64 sounds right there. And then we have weapon overheating, just a few of the plasma guns that can overheat. And then we have weapon pickup, I think 2 samples per each. Weapon reloading, both tactical reloading and then completely empty mag reloading. There's several samples there. And then we even have weapons switch too. And so after all that, we come out to a total of 1,821 sounds. That is the largest category in the weapons sounds. And that brings the entire pack up to a total staggering amount of 3,316 sound effects. That is not including the mystery sound effects that I hid in there that I mentioned earlier from a different game. And even add it all together, and yes, I did this in Adobe Audition. It took a long time. All of the sounds put together equate to 3 hours and 30 minutes and 26 seconds. It put them all on one single track. But yeah, that's the sound effects pack in a nutshell. Hope you guys really find this very, very useful. It's been a lot of work putting all of this together. Definitely a must-have for any like machinima creators or Halo-related content creators. There's so much in here that you guys can really pretty much build an entire gameplay sequence with all of these sounds, if you really had to. Another question that I'm probably going to get that I'll just answer right now. I know that 343 is still doing content, and what I'm probably going to do is just to do these little add-on pack of videos in the future once they're done releasing content, or for every pack, versus what I've been doing, whereas, just releasing videos constantly. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. I don't normally ask this, but do drop a like if you guys do give this a download. I'm really curious to see, how big this video gets. I hope that it reaches a lot of the people that really want, some kind of sound effects pack like this. And with that, hope you guys have an awesome day.